It's almost like, did you just eat a hoagie or did you just go to the gym? Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode on the Big Dane podcast. How was your weekend? Was it amazing? Did you enjoy Labor Day weekend? It's crazy how it just all of a sudden has arrived. Am I right? I mean, it's like I blinked. It was COVID, and then it's COVID, and it's still COVID. But anywho, summer unfortunately is winding down, and we'll just see what happens. But hey, welcome back, and we're gonna get into it right away. I'm gonna give you just a few quick updates on my walks because I actually have something to share. So, Matt and I, this was like last weekend or whatever, and we were doing a little walk at night and enjoying ourselves. And I was like, what the heck is that on the ground? I'm like, is that a Tupperware container? Like, who is dropping a legit container of Tupperware? And there was like stuff still in it. I'm just trying to imagine like how this even happened. Like, were you carrying a lunchbox and then it fell out, but like, wouldn't you hear it? So, anywho, that was kind of weird. And then we were like kind of hanging out by the river, and then we saw this flashlight keep like going off and on like into the river, and it's like, Matt, do you see that? I'm like, is someone out there? I don't know if someone was swimming and they were trying to find their friend or whatever, but it was literally like off and on. I think it was just like kids like playing around and just like dicking around or whatever. But I was like, all right, this is kind of getting old. But yeah, it was like going on and off for like an hour, but whatever. And then when I went for a walk, I also saw right near Ellie Moan, this little cat, and it was definitely like belonged to the house right there, because right out in front near the steps where it was eating, it was just hanging out and having its dinner. Yeah. And I have a picture of the cat, so I'll put that on my coffee account so you guys can see it. But yeah, just thought it was cute. There's just so many cats, I feel like, around Conchi. Like, okay. Yeah, a lot of indoor outdoor cats, I guess, but we keep our cats inside because I don't want to go out and see roadkill. So, just to get back to it, some quick updates with my podcast. In case you didn't see my update on Instagram and Facebook, I'm now on Stitcher. So for those of you that don't use Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, now you have another channel. Yeah, so I'm super excited. So it's just another platform to listen on. And again, you go to the website, thebigdanepodcast.com/podcast. And it's all right there. So you click on the subscribe, and then you can the little drop down is there and you select what you want. So easy peasy. And if you feel like shooting me a message, stay on the website there, right? And then just toggle over to contact and send me a note. Love it. And be sure to rate this podcast. I know like it's a struggle for some people, like, don't feel like doing it. Honestly, I hear you, but at the same time, I need the support. So please go to ratethispodcast.com/thebigdanepodcast. Okay? And as you know, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And for all the weird stuff, that's on my coffee account. And again, all those icons for your reference, if you need it, is on the website. Imagine that. So, God, I'm out of breath. So let me just take a little sip of my seltzer. Okay, so I'm good. We are going to get to something kind of interesting and fun, something a little different. Okay, we're getting into scents. Yeah, so like, you know how you have five senses, so we're going to be talking about one of them, but more or less like what's your favorite scent, or like how do you like remember like this scent, like what were you doing, or you know, things like that. And it's kind of interesting. I was just actually pulling up an article real quick, so I'll just give you some quick facts. So, because I guess right before I get into it, I think everyone does this, to be honest, unless you can't smell. So, I mean, literally anything, like a perfume, maybe a chapstick, a lotion, something, right? You tie that with maybe either a memory or something to just like remind you of this maybe tangible item or something, right? So here on NBC News, it says, after a smell enters the nose, it travels through the cranial nerve through the olfactory bulb, which helps the brain process the smell. Okay? All right. The olfactory bulb is part of the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. Okay, all right, I hear you. And it says, as a member of the limbic system, the olfactory bulb can easily access the amygdala, which plays a role in the emotional memories. So this also notes, it says it's also where the fight or flight reflex comes from. Yeah, and this doctor is saying olfactory has a strong input into the amygdala, which processes emotions, okay? The kind of emotions that evokes are good, and they are more powerful. The close relationship between the olfactory amygdala is one of the reason odors cause a spark of nostalgia. Huh. Well, Jill, look at that. You have it right there. So, kind of interesting. I'm kind of laughing about odor because I feel like when I hear the term or the word odor, I think of something bad. Like, it's like, oh, what's that odor? Like, is it onions or is that bad? Oh. It's almost like, did you just eat a hoagie or did you just go to the gym? Oh my gosh. So I'm going to tell you just in no particular order, so all random, just some of the scents that I can remember, you know, as a child to today, you know, to, you know, through college and things like that, and just to like everyday stuff. So I remember going up to my aunt and uncle's house, and so they live in upstate New York, and they lived in this teeny tiny town that no one has ever heard of. And my cousin is probably like laughing about this. But so it was Arkport, yep, in near, the Rochester area. But like their neighbors would be like miles away. And I thought as a kid, I'm like, how do you trick or treat? Yeah, because that's the first thing I think of. So, and this is on my dad's side, so it's my dad's sister. So we would go up there, you know, it's like a 5-6 hour drive, such a long drive. But we get there, and it's like, before you even get into the house, you can just start to smell something. Yeah. And what it was is mothballs. She would keep them like in there to keep the moths out, right? Because that's what they're supposed to do. Well, yeah, that it doesn't do anything. So, and she would have them up there like for as long as I can remember. But it's like the first thing that you smell, you know? And, you know, you kind of get used to it. It's like not a big deal, but it's just, it kind of sticks. And I, honest to God, I remember like doing one of my walks, and I stopped and I was like, what is that smell? I was like, where is my aunt? Because like for some reason I all of a sudden got this reek of this mothball scent, and I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, this what? I'm like, I'm outside. So that was just too funny. And I don't know if anyone has experienced this too, but like even if you're cooking or you're baking, it kind of just like gets into the baked goods. And I'm like, am I eating mothballs now? It's not a good taste. Yeah. No. So that was like one scent that like always sticks out, that like it stays with me, and that's what I think of. With Christmas, and just, through the whole winter season, my absolute favorite scent is the wreath pine scent. Yankee Candle makes it. Oh my God. I like just melt. I melt into the sofa, and I'm like, I can't even get up because the scent is just so overwhelming, but like in a good way. And I just love it. And I think I mentioned it maybe like once to like Matt's family. And then I got like 2 candles that year, and it was just so good. So I'm so like looking forward to like bringing out the candles and using them. I'm just stocked now. It's pretty great. Um, Another scent, and I think for those living around the area here, is the Conchi Bakery smell. The smell of fresh bread. Like, whoa. I could like be half a mile away, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like luring you in, and it's just wonderful, and just makes you want to buy the bread. It's just so good. I will say, like, as I have been walking too, just, when you pass by people's houses and you can tell that they're doing laundry, you know what I'm saying? And you just smell it like just floating out of the windows and through the house, and it's just like protruding out. Oh, I just hit my microphone by accident. I always have some sort of microphone incident. All good. I'm good. But, and I think that scent is just almost like, I guess like a comfort scent that I just want to like relax and just like fall in a pile of clothes. um, but really, I mean, what else can you say about fresh laundry, right? Um, Perfumes, though, I'll say the one I actually still have, and I feel like I don't use as much because then after that I had gotten other perfumes, so then I kind of like prioritize that. But the one I have is Viva La Juicy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And that I had up with me in college. So that perfume, it's like, let's go, I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do shots before we go out. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but it's coming out like that. And it's like, it just reminds me of like being out, like being with friends, just like having the time of my life. So when I put that on, I'm like, well, like, all right, here we go. I'm ready to bring it. I will say, though, my first perfume, I want to say, is the Adidas Sport. Yeah. Yeah, of course, it's a sport perfume because I was a tomboy. Like, what else would it be? And I remember listening to the Britney Spears album, which I got for Easter that year. Why I got it for Easter, I don't know, but it came with that perfume. Yeah, Easter Bunny was treating me well back then. I mean, and still is. That's not how it meant to come out, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, so anytime, I mean, now that I don't buy the Adidas Sport, but if you were to blindfold me and then sprayed that on a little like paper tester, whatever you call it, I'd be like, yo, that's Adidas Sport. What else would it be? And just kind of continue on with like perfumes and maybe some lotions. I remember when I studied abroad, I brought the Vaseline brand of this like lotion. It was like maybe like the healing one or dry or whatever. And that just again like stuck with me. It's like I'm in Spain, I brought this with me, and then it's like I actually bought it recently and during quarantine, and BJ's had it, and I was like, oh my god, I think this is the scent. But I'm like, whatever, it's gonna bring back some good memories, so I don't really mind. And yeah, it's just like it's amazing what a scent can do, and just puts you back to all these awesome memories of like what you were doing and where you were. And I think now too, it's like then you bring in the current memories, right, and kind of associate that as well. I'll say like maybe like an everyday smell would be coffee. Whether it's like Matt making coffee, or maybe we're going into Fiend, and it's just like the smell, it just smells so good. Like I don't even have to have a cup, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this smells so good. But obviously I'm gonna have a cup, because what else would I be doing if I wasn't drinking it, right? Unless like my stomach hurt, whatever, then I gotta make some tea. But hey, another one, and this will be wrapping up shortly, is sunscreen. And I say sunscreen wrapping up shortly just because I'm thinking of us like being outside like a lot versus like the winter. Obviously, I know like you're technically always supposed to be wearing sunscreen, to protect your skin, all that jazz. But yeah, it's that banana boat smell, right? And that is sunscreen. That is what makes me think of the shore, the beach, sand, an umbrella, a beach umbrella, of course. Literally anything associated with beach. Or, I mean, I guess the pool, but I think first comes to mind is the beach. Yeah. And I remember actually last weekend I was playing softball here in Conchi, the Heyday Athletic. Yeah, because how many goddamn times are they gonna fucking change the name? Christ. I need to start. I already donated like a ton of my softball t-shirts just because I have like so many. But it was like Philly Sport, then it was like Country Sport, then it was Philly, then it was Country, and now it's Heyday. I'm like, all right. Stop buying each other out. Like, what does it take? So yeah, the other teams are waiting, and it was a gorgeous day. It was hot out, sunny. It was beautiful, and our time went a little bit over. And I'm waiting there, like getting ready to bat, and I was like, I'm like sniffing. Like I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but I'm like sniffing and like. Sunscreen? The beach? It's like going through my mind. Like it's the trigger. It's amazing. I just love the scent. Even the scent that is a little bit different, but if you were to put it in front of me, again, blindfolded, I'd be like, yo, that's Neutrogena Beach Defense. It's the yellow bottle, and that's what it says. And it's like this, it kind of has some sort of like some kind of like perfume kind of scent going on, like with the lotion. It's not that typical beach scent that I've been saying, but it's a little different. But I'm like, wow, this smells like really good. God, I feel like I'm like getting out of breath. Okay, I'm good. Just getting so excited. I will say one scent for a very, very, very long time I could not even smell. Not because of my nostrils and senses not working, but because I literally felt ill smelling it. And this was Bailey's because the first time that I got drunk, or like got like semi drunk now that I look back on it, but for some reason I guess that's what we had in the house, and we tried that, and I'm like, it was just like a pish posh of stuff that night, but that was one of them. And the next day I didn't feel like too bad, but more or less like, whoa, like my body, like what did you do last night? Like, what kind of poison did you put in my body? And I just remember feeling like kind of nauseous, but like hungry, and basically my first like hangover, I guess, but like not even, it was just like those little symptoms of like first time like actually consuming alcohol. And so even, I don't know, even through college, like I couldn't even, not that we would buy that, but I don't know, I couldn't even do it. Or if it was like St. Patty's Day, like Irish coffee, like I couldn't. No. I mean, now I'm totally fine, right? So many years has passed, like I got this. But that was one that I'm sure everyone has something. I was trying to think if there's some other alcohol. I remember someone saying that they couldn't do like, I think it was maybe like a watermelon Bacardi or something, that they like really got sick off of. And I don't know, I remember getting sick, like obviously from time to time, just because you overdo it in college, but nothing that to the point where I couldn't have it. But anywho, aside from that, I would say, how when you go into people's houses and, excuse me, some like they have, I'll say this, like everyone has that distinct scent, right, in their home, but I mean, some like really stick out, right? So my friend Paige, so she lives in Conchi, one of my best friends, right? And every time I go in there, it's like, Paige, like, what is that smell? Like, it smells so good. But honestly, like, it smells so good. I'm like, what kind of air fresh, in my mind. And I just, like, when I'm in there, I'm like, this is Paige's house, right? So now, this was over, like, last weekend or whatever, and we did a big shop at BJ's. So I have the Airwick, right, to have those refills for the scents. And I was like, Mad, like, do you like this? Or like, we found one, it was like lavender and something else. And then I was like, oh, what's this? It was like linen or something. And then it was like fresh water. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is Paige. I just had like one of those moments like this. We're in Paige's house. I'm like, I cannot buy this. Do you understand? He's like, okay, we'll get the lavender. I'm good with that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the fresh water. Don't quote me, but I'm going off memory of what I saw in BJ's. And that was it. So again, like how we associate that like scent with so many different things. It's pretty wild. And one of the last ones I'll say, and just with fall coming up, which is hard to believe because where has the time gone? I mean, wow, right? So, yeah, I'm a little bit basic bitch, right? So I love pumpkin, but not to hop on any wagon, but I really enjoy eating it and baking with it, and sometimes in my beer, maybe a cocktail, just like all things pumpkin, right? Just the scent of it. If someone's baking it, oh my God, I'm like drooling right now. And then I would also say, it's coming up on this time of year where, people are having their bonfires and enjoying themselves, and just like the smell of like burning leaves and just like the cool weather, and just, maybe have my jean jacket on and just relaxing, and just, just enjoying the nighttime, the conchy air, and just kicking back, right? And enjoying some music. Just love it. Love it. So that is that. Oh my God. Those are some of my scents that I remember. One last one actually that just came to me. So, real quick, I remember one of my cousins. So, this is one of my German cousins that I always mention about. And she used to live here, like in Long Island. So, we would like go up and visit her and things like that. And at the time, like her boyfriend was a little bit older, and just wore this like cologne, but like a lot of it. But like to me, it smelled good. Like it wasn't like a bad scent. And I was trying to ask my mom before I started recording. I was like, "Do you remember what this was called?" I don't know. I'm like talking with my hands because like you can't even see me, but that's what's happening now because I'm Italian. But yeah, I'm like, and she's like, oh, and she was trying to ask my dad or whatever. So TBD, I'll probably give you an update at some point and circle back, okay? But yeah, and then anytime I would smell it or come across it, and I thought, wow, like Ed is here. That was his name, Ed. So yeah, good times. But yeah, tell me, what are some of your scents? What's one of your favorite scents? Like, just shoot me a message. And quick fun fact, just because it's one of my faves. I love sunflowers. Yeah, it's probably my favorite flower, and kind of joke with Matt, like, if you're gonna bring any flowers home, it has to be a sunflower, or it has to be a bouquet of beer, of course. I'm just not a flower person. Like, I'd rather just have alcohol. Yeah, or sunflower, but it's like, where do you buy sunflowers if it's not in season? But I've honestly seen like random sunflowers around Conchi, which is kind of cool. So yeah, there you have it. But do you want to hear about your scents and, coming up in the fall and then like winter after that, how we all have our scents, and even with people too, like, oh, this reminds me of so and so or whatever, or just like, ooh, even a natural scent, like, ooh, are you spicy? Are you sweet? Or whatever, right? So be sure to listen, thebigdanepodcast.com/podcast. Check out Stitcher if you want to tap into there, okay? And we got Google for you. We got Spotify, right? And Apple Podcasts, yeah. And if you want to stay on the website, go to the contact section. So that's thebigdanepodcast.com/contact. Send me a note. Ask me what's up. I'll tell you what's going on. We'll be good to go. And take 30 seconds out of your entire day and go to ratethispodcast.com/The Big Dane Podcast. So there you can just leave a quick review, right? Maybe a 5-star, but who's asking? And be sure to follow on IG and FB. And for some funky, cool stuff, go to my coffee account. All right, my peeps, have a fabulous week, and we'll connect later. Peace out. Bow, bow, bow.